of me that I can't speed up, that I can't change the outcome of that. I can't act in a certain way to get a certain result, right? That really makes me dysregulated. It's very agitating. I become very anxious. I've even had trouble sleeping. And I think part of it, I mean, there's so many layers to it. We could blame some of it on like just news and society and our constant bombardment with information. But I think in general, there is a deeper piece to discuss here about why things feeling out of control can be so dysregulating. And then I'll share some of the tools I've worked on in my own therapy and my own process to feel better. Hopefully it helps you a little bit. So in general, I know I can intellectualize, right? I did a bunch of research about control for my new book, Why Do I Keep Doing This? Right, the irony. But when things are outside of what we call our locus of control, which just means it's like things that we don't have control over, we don't have access to. When things are outside of that, it can feel like things are happening to us and we are a victim or like we are helpless or hopeless in our own story. And for me, that's incredibly dysregulating. It makes me like now I feel very choked up. I feel very anxious. I haven't been sleeping well. Things feel very overwhelming. And I think in general, that's like a very shared experience that when it can feel like the world is happening to you, you feel like there's nothing that you can do to make it better. And so it can be triggering for those of us who have any trauma in their past. COVID was a trauma, but fortunately I don't have any childhood trauma, but I know for many of you it is incredibly dysregulating because of that. And so there's a lot of reasons that this can be super triggering. And I think realizing where it comes from for me has been part of the battle. And I know for myself that I thought that by when I'm laughing, because it's like it doesn't make sense as an adult, but it did as a kid, that I thought that if I did everything just perfectly and everything was, I was doing my best and getting straight A's and like top of my class, everything that then my dad would be around more because he worked away from home a lot. And I thought that that was because I wasn't good enough. And he never said that to me, but it's something that I internalized. And so when I grew up, I thought, oh, in order to get more love, get more attention, get more validation, I had to do everything just right? I had to keep everything together. And when I can't, then I question my own worth. Like, what am I doing? Who am I? Like I've even been feeling that way about creating on YouTube because the videos haven't been doing well and I don't know how to make it better. And so I feel very out of control. There's a lot of factors when it comes to creation that I can't control, that I don't have. It's not in my locus of control. And so figuring out that why has been helpful, because then for me, I realized that this dysregulation is coming from an old story, right? A story that if I can't make this better, if I don't do it perfectly, that I'm not worthy, right? Like, again, I've talked about this before, like feeling like I have to hustle for my worth. Like I have to earn attention and affection, which is not a healthy view to take. And so realizing that that's where this comes from, that's the story I'm telling myself has been really helpful, because then I can breathe. I can realize, hey, it's coming from this past. See, I even feel better as I realize this. So isn't the nervous system such a wild thing? But as you realize that, hey, that's an old story. That's actually not current. I know I don't feel, but I know that I am worthy, that it will be okay, right? We take a breath, as best we can. And it can help soothe for a second. In this second that I have this like bringing down my emotional reactivity for just a bit allows for me then to use some tools. So I'm going to share with you what I've been doing during this time when I feel very overwhelmed and I feel very chaotic is the best word I can describe. When things just feel completely out of my control, I remember that this is old story. It's not current. It's okay. Okay. I recognize where it's coming from. Then in the moment, I ask myself, is there any action that you can take that would make you feel a little bit better? Now, this action might be I take a shower, or it might be I call a friend. In my case, it's usually, and this is just like because I'm such a workaholic, is like maybe I send that email or I do this thing to move something else forward. Or if there's one thing I can do to help move the thing that is bothering me forward, I'm going to try that, right? That might be a call that I make, or it might be, something else that I do online, or I don't know. It depends on what the thing is. Let's say that I'm waiting to get an email back from someone. I can ping them again if I haven't in a while. Okay, so I'll do that. So taking action has been really powerful because it breaks me out of freeze. Now, freeze isn't often under-talked about, and I know there's a lot of other stress responses. I've been working on a video with about all the stress responses because there's more than fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. I know I'm learning. So when we talk about fight or flight, those are action-based stress responses, meaning that my body cues me up to take action, and that action helps get rid of or disperse that anxious energy coursing through my nervous system. If I fight back, right, it's an action. I'm protecting myself, and then I'm done with it. H, it's over. Or I run away. That's an action. Again, dispersing that energy that we can feel, that chaotic energy. However, freeze and fawn are not always so active, especially freeze. Freeze is when we essentially play dead and hope that the pain will stop. It's like that. I think of it as more of like a hopeless, helpless state. And I hate being in that freeze. And it's super triggering. And so taking some action, sending an email, calling a friend, going for a walk, any kind of action helps me break out of that. And that in and of itself feels better. So if you find yourself, like me, feeling really overwhelmed, really dysregulated, but there's nothing you can do or you don't know what to do, consider an action you could take. And it doesn't even have to be directly correlated with the thing that's bothering you. It can be something simple, like I said, like taking a shower or finally, cleaning up this area of your home. Taking that action has been incredibly regulating for me. Even filming this video is helping me regulate, right? The nervous system is so weird that way, but also so amazing. And if we work with it, we can start to feel better. Then another thing that I've been doing that's been incredibly helpful, and for those of you who have been following me for a while, you're sure that you knew this was coming. I've been journaling a lot, and it's not journaling like, Dear Diary, today I did XYZ. It can be. It's up to you. I find that what's helpful for me is when I journal about the things that I'm frustrated about and things that feel chaotic, things that I don't have control over, and I try to reframe them. So reframing is probably my number one therapeutic tool, the most beneficial tool that I use personally and that I've used in my practice. The number one therapeutic tool I use for myself and I've used in my practice is called cognitive reframing. And I have some examples because I want you to understand how to use it because it's so incredibly powerful. Essentially, what we're doing is instead of having a thought or a belief or an assumption and just accepting it and moving through our life, we challenge it. We try to reframe the thought, hence cognitive reframing, so that we can see it from a different perspective and possibly let ourselves out from this unhealthy cycle. Okay, hang with me. Now here's an example. The situation, let's say we feel rejected after a friend cancels plans last minute. Okay, the negative thought or the automatic thought is that my friend doesn't care about me. I'm worthless, right? The reframed thought could be that my friend may have had an unexpected emergency or maybe going through a tough time. I'll reach out to them later and see how they're doing. That's a great example. And in my case, when it comes to feeling out of control or feeling like things are really chaotic, I can jump to, this is all going to fail. This is terrible. You're terrible. And instead a reframe would be like, not everything is failing. There are actually maybe something's just taking a little bit longer because somebody doesn't have the answer yet and they're just waiting to get back to you. Or maybe it's not that they don't want to work with you or that they don't like your video. Maybe they just didn't have time today, right? It's offering up maybe another perspective. It's possible, right? Because we often make assumptions about the world and other people and think that things just are out to get us. We make it very egocentric. And that isn't because we're egotistical or we're narcissistic. We make it egocentric about us because that's all we really understand and know, right? That's the thing that we know the best is ourselves. Even like as kids, when our parents wouldn't tell us what was really going on, we'd assume we had done something wrong. That's very common because that's all we know. That's all we can control. And so we're like, oh, it must be me, right? We hear people whispering, and laughing. We're like, oh, maybe they're talking bad about me, right? We make it about ourselves because that's what we know best. And this is no different. And so often we make things out to be, and I am obviously no better, make things out to be really terrible, all about us. We're doing something wrong. Someone doesn't like us. Something's not working out because we're not good enough. And cognitive reframing can save the day. It has helped me see hey, maybe, that's not really what it's about. Maybe they needed more time because the email you sent was really long, or this project that you're working on, they need to review it more. It needs to go through more people. And just considering it from that other perspective, considering another viewpoint really helps pull me out of what I would call kind of like extreme dysregulation, feeling like I have no control over my life, things are happening to me. For me, that's a very icky, dysregulating feeling. I don't like it. I have to shake it out, right? Which moves me, I guess, to my final tip, which is shakeouts I have been shaking out all over the place. Like when I walk to the bathroom in my own house, I give a little shake and you might think, Katie, remember that energy I talked about coursing through our bodies? We have to give it an outlet. And sometimes if I'm just feeling really overwhelmed and I can't put my finger on why, I just try to shake it out. You could also dunk your face in cold water. all the tools for grounding and stuff like that. But sometimes a little shakeout, just stomping my feet while I shake my hands really helps. Or engaging in exercise, it can help as well. And so I just wanted to at least share some of the thoughts I've been having, some of the struggles I've been having with feeling out of control, feeling very chaotic, feeling like things are kind of like happening to me in the ways that I have learned to regulate. And I really encourage you, instead of pulling away from that emotional dysregulation, try to lean into it and let it show you. Because if I wouldn't let myself cry or feel that buildup, I feel it in my throat a lot. If I didn't let myself feel it, then I wouldn't notice what helps me feel better versus trying to stuff it down. That doesn't get me anywhere, right? But if I acknowledge, hey, I'm feeling really overwhelmed, and instead of judging myself and jumping into this thought spiral that's not helpful, I can say, hey, something doesn't feel good. What is it? Okay, it's this old story that I tell myself. That was my example I gave earlier. But whatever it is for you, then that puts me, instead of in a helpless turtle on its back position, it puts me upright. It puts me in a position where I'm empowered and I can actually make change. I can regulate myself. Things aren't happening to me. I'm a participant in my life. And I think for a lot of us, myself included, sometimes I can be a turtle on my back for days and wonder why I feel so shitty and why things feel like they're not working out. And I'm such a victim. And getting in that victim mindset is not helpful. It doesn't help us move forward. It keeps us frozen. And so instead of that, I want to be more empowered. What actions can I take? What are things that I can do? What are the things that are going right for me, right? Practicing a little gratitude can help there too. It can help flip us off our back and onto our feet again. And so if you find yourself caught in this victim mindset, or you find yourself feeling like life is happening to you and it feels really chaotic, maybe some of the things that have been helping me in this tough time will help you. But I would also love to hear in the comments, are there things that you've done that have really benefited you? Have you tried cognitive reframing? Do you hate it or love it? I personally love it, and it really challenges me to see things from a different view and put me more in the driver's seat of my own life. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you, because sometimes I think we can get caught in some of these traps and then feel terrible for longer periods of time than we really have to, versus realizing, hey, this is my life and I have the ability to move forward. I have the ability to do X, Y, or Z that I already, as you can tell, it already helps me feel better. And hopefully it'll help you too. Thanks for letting me get that out and vent. I know this wasn't like a traditional video, but sometimes I just have some stuff I want to talk about because I've been working on it. And maybe that will help you too. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next time.